Hi everyone, my name is Ken and welcome to the fall semester. I'm going to be your professor for Fundamentals of Oral Communication Public Context, otherwise known as the public speaking class. And I basically just wanted to get on and make sure that you know how to navigate and access all the information you need to get started. So we'll go over the course itself, a little bit of an introduction. We'll talk about how to navigate Canvas, how to navigate the syllabus, and then also how to get in contact with me if you have any questions. So let's start right here. This is Canvas. As soon as you get into the course, you should be on this home page that has a lot of basic information of how to get in contact with me, how to access the syllabus, and then some basic, learning goals of what we're trying to do in this class. You have a navigation panel up here in the top left, and this is where you'll be accessing things in Canvas. The three important ones, or a lot of these are important. Grades, for example, that's a good place to look at all of your grades in one place and see how your scores are affecting your overall grade. Assignments is a good place to go for looking at the upcoming assignments and when they're due. You can sort them by the due date so that you can see what's coming up and what's going to be, weeks ahead from now. You can look at your grades on this page as well and see how individual assignments were graded. So this is a good panel to know, but the other two important ones are syllabus and modules. We'll go over the syllabus in just a minute. Let's start with modules. So the course is divided into modules, and each of these are organized into weeks. So we have our welcome right here, which is kind of its own thing. And then afterwards, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, and all of the information for that week is stored in this little folder right here. So let's start with welcome. So this is where I would recommend you get started. Go onto Canvas, go into modules, and then find the welcome folder, and these modules should all tell you exactly how to get started. There are two different ways you can navigate these folders. You can click individually on each of these things and access them that way, or if you click on the very first one, Getting Started, and you scroll to the bottom, you'll have next and previous buttons if you want to go forward and backward and just read it from beginning to end. And I think that's probably the best way to go through, is just start at the very beginning and read through it at your own pace. You'll have links to access all of the textbooks in here. I know there might be some issues with accessing specific chapters, but this link, if you click on it, it should be completely free to access the textbook. Opens up a PDF file, and you can scroll to the table of contents and then click on the chapter that you need. So if we're talking about chapter 5, you scroll down here, click on chapter 5, and it takes you to that page. Yeah, like I said, use Next to navigate through it. There are other pieces of information that are important here to read, but I'm not here to give you all that information. I just want to make sure you know how to get to this page and navigate through it. So that's how the modules work. And I'll show you one of the weeks too, just so you understand how that works. So if we go to week 5 as a random example, or maybe that's not a good one. Week 4, no, let's do week 1. If you go to week 1, exact same thing. You can start at the very beginning, click on Start Here. It'll tell you what we're doing that week, and then it'll have some more videos or pamphlets to go over information that's relevant to the topic that week. And then also stored in the modules are the assignments due that week. So you can look at your assignments in the assignments page, or you can look at them in the modules page, whatever way is best for you. But this will also store the assignments in here so that you know everything we're doing that week and how it all ties together under one topic. Next, let's go over the syllabus. So the syllabus is very important. You can access it by clicking on syllabus. It's also stored in other places, like on the home screen, there's a button for the syllabus as well. But this is, essentially think of the syllabus as your agreement between me as the professor and you as the student. So these are all of the standards and expectations you're being held to, as well as the expectations I'm being held to as the professor. So it is important to know, if you have any questions about how are late assignments handled? How are technical issues handled? How am I going to submit my video assignments? What's the policy on AI for assignments that I submit? All of that information is going to be stored here in the syllabus. A lot of it is pretty well organized in terms of information about the course. All of the policies are in one place. So make sure you read through it. There is a syllabus quiz that is open book, but you still are required to know all the information in the syllabus, or at least know how to get to it. So make sure you read through the whole thing. Make sure you know how to access the whole thing. And if you have any questions, this is a very good place to start when it comes to questions about the course itself and not necessarily the content in the course. I'm also going to show you at the very bottom, there's also some important stuff on assignments, which if you're having trouble figuring out information in Canvas on what's due and how assignments are graded and how it all works, this is a good place to look as well in the syllabus. So here are the course points. At the end of the semester, if you get full points and everything, you should get 1,000 points. And the way that works is that each of these assignments have enough points to get you to that 1,000 points if you get 100% on every assignment. And it'll also show you here that based on those 1,000 points, whatever percentage of those points you have at the end of the semester, these are the grades you'd be receiving for those points. There's also assignment descriptions here. These should also be in Canvas, but you can also access them here and just read why we're doing the assignment and how to do the assignment. And then the very bottom is a very useful calendar, which will go through the dates of every week, what our topic is every week, the readings that you'll be doing every week, and then the due dates for all of the assignments. So if you're ever confused on what to do for a week and you go to the modules and you're still not sure, this is also a good place to go to look at what assignments are due, and another place to look at what you're doing that week. So that's the syllabus, that's Canvas. If you have any questions, start in those two places, read through the information, and then after you've read through it, if you have any questions or need me to clarify anything, best way to get in contact with me is my email, so kacarson@alaska.edu. I usually respond. I have to respond within 24 hours. I usually respond a little faster than that. But I also have office hours. So Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., you can stop by at the Zoom link. It shouldn't ask you for a password. And you can stop by to say hello or to ask any questions you have about the course. So, like I said, read the syllabus, go to modules, go to welcome, and read through these modules. And then after that, if you have any questions, send me an email and I'll be able to get you on your way. This is an asynchronous online course, so an important skill that you're going to have to be using throughout this whole course is learning how to find information yourself, learning how to pace yourself with doing all the readings, doing all the assignments before the due date. You're going to have to do a lot of self-management with a lot of that. So starting with making sure you know where to find information, and then later, especially as we get into week 1, making sure you know how to get assignments in on time, how to deal with any issues you run into, and just how to manage your time effectively. So hopefully that's enough to get you started, but feel free to email me if you have any questions. Hope you all have a good week.